Hello, my name is Johnstone. I'm the solicitor in charge of M.A.J. Law Solicitors. This is a short video just to discuss how you go about choosing the right solicitor for your case. I'm often contacted by new potential clients, people who perhaps are shopping around looking for a solicitor, and there's an awful lot of uncertainty about how exactly you choose the right solicitor for your case. It's certainly a good idea to shop around, speak to as many people as possible, because I think the most important part is that you try to find a solicitor that you feel comfortable with and that you can work with going forward. Defending any type of criminal case or considering your options, even if it's considering a guilty plea, can be quite a daunting task, and it can take quite some time. It's not uncommon for defences of even relatively straightforward motoring matters to go on for 4, 5, 6 months, possibly even longer. I think the longest one I had on even a basic speeding case went on for some 18 months. So they can be quite complicated. There can be a lot of issues involved. Even a guilty plea, there is a lot of preparation involved in order to put the correct mitigation to the court. And clearly the more serious the motoring offence and the more risk there is of a more severe penalty, and obviously some offences such as drink driving and dangerous driving, drug driving, may involve a custodial sentence if the aggravating factors there, if the level of seriousness of your case is high. So taking legal advice, of course, is important. But because your case can go on for so long, it's important to try to find a solicitor that you feel comfortable with and that you can work with. So I think the main issues that I would consider, or advise you to consider, first of all, try to speak to the solicitor involved with your case. If you telephone an office, telephone a law firm, but you can't get hold of the person who's going to be dealing with your case, then that's a concern. Because many firms will have secretaries, clerks, caseworkers and so on, who will do a lot of the day-to-day work on the case. And the solicitors may not become involved within your case until perhaps it's going to a court hearing. My personal view is it's better to have your solicitor involved at an early stage. The way we tend to work at my firm is that the solicitors are involved right from day one. So if you contacted me, for example, then I'd be speaking to you about your case, and then I would be in charge of your case right the way through. I prefer it that way because it helps me get the best results for my clients. So rather than me getting information from a member of staff within the firm, I'd rather have the information from you direct. And if I've been working with you right from the start of your case, then it helps me to understand your situation better, and it helps to achieve a better outcome. That's what I find. So try to speak to the solicitor involved with your case and just talk to them generally about how they would approach it. There are so many people that contact me who say, well, I've spoken to a previous firm or another firm and they were talking about entering a guilty plea. Well, personally, I think that's premature, because unless you've seen all the evidence against you, it's difficult to say whether you should be pleading guilty or not. And that applies for any type of motoring case. I'll give you an example. Many people contact me and say, well, I've been caught speeding. The police say I'm on the laser gun and I'm doing 50 miles an hour in a 30 zone, so I must be guilty. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You might recall recently in all the press that David Beckham was caught speeding. Now, he fully accepted from the start that he had been speeding, that he'd broken the speed limit, and yet he was found not guilty of speeding. Now, the newspapers, the Daily Mail, etc., go crazy at this information. How can it be that somebody who accepts breaking the law is then found not guilty of breaking the law? It just seems strange. But that's because there is a technical error, and it might relate to time limits by the police, or it could be relating to time limits by the prosecution service with disclosure of evidence. There could be other technical issues that arise with a case. So the mere fact that you may have been going over the speed limit doesn't mean automatically that you're guilty of speeding. In the same way as a drink or a drug driving case, You may have a printout from a breath test report, or you might have the report from a lab saying that your blood result is over for a drug drive case, and you might think, well, I must be guilty of drink driving or drug driving. Not necessarily the case. We win an awful lot of drink and drug cases, drug drive cases, by finding fault with the procedure, either by the police or the prosecution service, whether it's technical arguments, forensic arguments, read the analysis. There could be health issues, mental health issues. There can be lots of points that do need checking. So it's very important that your solicitor understands your case extremely well. But find a solicitor that deals solely with this type of work. Because if you do approach a general firm, and there's nothing wrong with general firms, and there's some very, very good solicitors that work within general firms, but there is the danger that they're not specialist in your particular aspect or your particular concerns. So if you've got a concern relating to motoring, then certainly you want to speak to a solicitor that deals exclusively with motoring cases. And even better than that, if you've got a case involving, for example, drink driving, then don't be afraid to ask the solicitor you're speaking to, how often do you deal with drink drive cases? How long have you been dealing with them? Over how many years? What has your success rate been like? And really sound them out, because you do want a solicitor that deals with drink drive, in that example, with drink drive cases all the time. Because the more somebody deals with any aspect of law, the better they become, the more knowledge they have. It's also important to consider what knowledge they have of the prosecution area, or the police in that area, or the court in that area, because they can all affect how your case progresses. I have some good relationships with the prosecution offices around the country. We can email them, we can speak to them, and often that can help facilitate a good outcome of your case. So having somebody with the knowledge, with the experience, is extremely important. But don't be afraid to talk to the solicitors, find out whether they're going to be dealing with your case, who's going to be involved, what access will you have to your solicitor. You don't want to receive something at 5 o'clock on a Friday and you're panicking about it all weekend. If you get a letter from the court or something from the police or the prosecution, or some evidence comes through direct to you, and you've got the weekend to worry about it, that's not helpful to you. Certainly from my point of view, all my clients have my direct mobile number. So if it's a Saturday or it's a Sunday, they can give me a quick ring, and hopefully I can put their mind at ease. So it's having that access to your solicitor that may make things easier for you. So try to deal with a solicitor that's going to be dealing with your case personally. As far as the costs are concerned, that is extremely important, and try to assess what the cost will be throughout your case, but compare like for like. I spoke to a client a short while ago, or a new potential client, who said that our costs were more expensive than another firm that she'd been speaking with. But then when I spoke with her in some more detail, the other firm had spoken to her about just pleading guilty to the offence, whereas the costs I quoted were in respect of a investigation of all the evidence with a view to defending the charge, and then if all of that fails, then mitigation, any sentencing hearing. So you've got to compare like for like, but make an assessment based on what's affordable, who you feel you're comfortable with, who you can get on with, and who you feel is going to do the best job for you. But if you do need any more information about your concerns, then please get in touch. I never have charged for any first initial telephone call. I'll spend as much time as I need with you to go through things, and then you can make a more informed decision as to whether you want us to act for you. And if we do act for you, we can normally operate on a fixed fee basis to try and keep costs as reasonable as possible. Well, thank you for watching.